Hey everyone, welcome to MT Guitar. Today's going to be a pretty huge lesson. It's going to be the complete guide to playing over chord progressions. Not an easy feat to cover in one video, so I'll do my best at being comprehensive, but starting with things that you can apply right away, maybe things that are a little more relatable to the average audience member out here, and then we'll dig deeper as we go, and you'll see that the layers just keep peeling deeper and deeper. The point is that you can start playing over chord progressions right away without too much fuss. Hopefully, that's my goal. So we'll start improvising using pentatonic scales and understanding how and why we use them and how we can think about them, and then going deeper as we go. Now we're going to be talking from both a major and minor perspective. So you may want to take this video in sections or maybe watch it more than once, revisit it over time, and just give yourself patience. These things are hard to understand right away. The guitar happens to be one of the more complicated instruments in terms of understanding music theory. But we're going to be covering the 4 or 5 tools, I think it's 5 overall, the 5 tools you will need to improvise, and you probably only need a couple of them just to get going, right? So let's say we're playing a song. I highly recommend applying music theory immediately to the guitar. So my goal is to encourage you to apply it and to give you assignments throughout this video. Now, let's say, I've got a looper set up. Let's say I want to play over Wish You Were Here, the intro. First, right off the bat, I can loop that intro and then just solo over it and sort of get the fingers moving without thinking too much. If I know my G major pentatonic or my E minor pentatonic, and you'll see why I'm kind of pausing there in a sec, then you're good to go over the intro for the most part. All right, I'll add a caveat in a sec. But if you just simply know your G major or E minor pentatonic, you can play over this intro. In fact, Gilmour's solo is almost pretty much completely G major pentatonic until it goes somewhere else. It goes to the A major chord. All right. So the reason I paused on G major and E minor is because what we need to understand if we're improvising is that those are relative keys. And in fact, this intro going between G major and E minor is a perfect example of the major and minor relativity. E minor is right here, but then G major is here. So he's kind of going back and forth between the two, but no notes are changing. The notes of E minor and G major are exactly the same. You can see this in the open E minor pentatonic scale all the way down. Then I can see it in G major, just starting on the G instead. So now we can say, okay, I can do that. But then the second half of the intro goes to A, and you'll see Gilmour changes scale to A major pentatonic, so he's moved up a whole step to address that A. Okay, and he's using the A major pentatonic as a starting place, but he's also hitting notes from the A major scale as well. Actually, A mixolydian. He's basically switching to A major pentatonic. When he does the interlude solos as well, when he's way up here, he goes way up to A major. So here's G major. There's that BB box bend you may know about right here. Second string root, full note bend. There's the 5. Okay? Then he goes just a whole step up. Great thing about guitar, we can just move our hand. Da, 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 da. Right? And then he goes back to G. Back to A. So now if I have that loop, I can practice playing the right scale over the right chord, really without thinking too much. I can just move my hand up 2 frets and play the same pentatonic scale from G to A. We know that E minor is the same as G, so ideally we're not thinking at all during this solo. We're just playing G/E minor pentatonic to A. So that's the pentatonic, okay? That's sort of the more approachable way to improvise. But let's take a step back. What else can we do from there? When there's singing happening, we have the chord progression of C, D, A minor, G. So now we've got a chord progression. Now we're going to kind of go and peel back the layers of this onion. First, I want to understand the tonic key and its parent scale. So the first tool is the pentatonic scale. We covered that, major and minor. Second tool you need to improvise is the tonic key in its parent scale. So what I mean is, if this song is in G major, we can rest assured that the one chord is G major. That's the tonic key. The parent scale is the whole 7-note major scale. Okay? And that's called the parent scale because every mode and every pentatonic scale comes from there somewhere. Every triad will come from there if the chords are diatonic, meaning if the chords are in the key. So now as I go through, I've got the parent scale. I can now run G major throughout this entire song, especially during the verse and chorus when there's actual chord progressions going on and singing going on. I can run G major. I recommend you try that. That's the parent scale. Now, we know there's more to it. The next thing, the third tool, would be Roman numerals. Roman numerals are the chord progressions happening in the song. All right, so in the song Wish You Were Here, it starts on a C chord. That's not our parent scale, though. It's not our tonic chord or our tonic key, but it is in the key of G, believe it or not. All these chords are going to be in the key of G. So that's the 4 chord. How do I know? I can count G, A, B, C and arrive at 4, but I can also see it in the scale, which is how I recommend you do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I know a 4 chord is major, so everything is diatonic, so I don't have to change the scale at all. All right, very important. So now I know it's a 4. 5 is major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's the D chord in the song is a 5 chord, capitalized because it's major. Then it's A minor, 1, 2. Second note of the key, and it's minor. We know that fits in with the 1, 4, 5 major, 2, 3, 6 is minor in the key. Okay, so that's Roman numerals. So now I have the Roman numerals. The next thing is triads and chord tones. All right, so the fourth tool would be triads and chord tones. So if I say, okay, let's say I have G major and I've run my major scale. I'm running all 7 notes, but now I'm going to run only 3 notes, the 3 notes that are in the chord. 1, 3, 5. G, B, D. Up an octave. And then finally, I run out of room here on the 3. So 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3. I can also do a trick and go up diagonally like this. 1, 3, 5. Reposition my middle finger on the next root. 1, 3, 5. Do the same pattern. Next root. So it looks like this. Okay. That's going to be important because now as the chords change, those 3 notes will change, right? We're going to monitor those 3 notes. Where are they going? Well, the C chord, we're going to go to the 4 and do the same thing. 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5 from the C, from the 4. We notice that we have B went to C, 3 went to 4. D went to E, so 5 went to 6. 3 to 4 and 5 to 6. G stayed the same. Now, if that's overwhelming, don't worry about it right now. Just play. Just play, play, play. Later, you can start to analyze this and it'll make more sense. But, you know, if you're willing to look at it, it is kind of powerful to see that the 3 goes to 4, right? When you're going from a 1 to 4 chord progression. All right. 5 chord, 1, 3, 5. Look what stayed the same. The 5 stayed the same. Here's the 5. It's obvious that the 5 would be in the 1 chord and in the 5 chord. But now I have 7 and 2. All right. 2 chord. No notes are the same. 2, 4, 6. So 1 flat 3, 5 from A minor is 2, 4, 6 of G. So no notes stayed the same there. Back to 1. So what I'm doing right now is arpeggios. All right. So the next tool is arpeggios and eventually triads. So let's say I'm way up here. It's kind of an annoying arpeggio, but this triad is very powerful. So maybe I'll just play the triad. So, I'm going to go to my 4 chord. I found that by going 3 to 4 and making that my root, seeing that it's in the E shape. Okay? So you think you can tell. Now I'm going to go back to my 1 chord and see that the 5 is in the triad. I make that my root, find the octave to see that I'm in the A shape, and now make it a D chord triad. So you think you can 5 chord. Okay? I see the A here, so I'm going to make an A minor triad. Heaven from hell. Go back to 1. Blue skies from pain. Now it switches to D chord. Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail? A smile from a veil. There's my A minor up there. Do you think you can tell? Now this isn't going to come instantly. This is why you might want to pause, practice for a while, watch just a couple minutes and then practice, come back, maybe watch this a few times, because I wouldn't be able to get this right away. And it took me serious work. And it's something that is going to be like a language. You know, you're just going to have to practice it over and over and hope that one day it'll just be somewhat automatic, okay? But it won't be at first. But it's worth every effort. Sometimes I talk with students and I say, you know, the grass is always greener sometimes, because I kind of wish that I had more of that sense of being lost and wonder and mystery. There's a certain excitement and sense of fun when you don't really know what's going on. I actually really enjoyed my earlier phases of guitar where I would get lost and I'm like, what is going on? And enjoy that phase, right? Don't rush through it. Just really spend a lot of time with the guitar mapping this stuff out. It's a lot of fun, I think. Okay, so we've done Wish You Were Here. That's a great song for this, but there's countless others. Any major key, let's say 8 days a week, is an interesting one. It goes to A major, C to G, okay? That's the verse. Oh, I need your love, yes, you know it's true. Now, what's interesting about that is that the 2 chord is major. Similar to Wish You Were Here when we go to A major on that intro. And then the 4 chord is major 1. So if I'm playing over this and I play G major scale, it's going to sound wrong over the A chord on certain notes if I just keep playing. Let's loop that real quick. 3, 4. Yes, you know it's true. Okay. So that's good. Now if I play G major, that note is going to sound wrong because A major has a C sharp, not a C. So that A chord is non-diatonic. So we're going to reset the tools and look at this. The major pentatonic will work. G major pentatonic, just play right away without thinking and play with feeling and expressiveness and you'll be good. The second tool is the tonic key center. It's G major. Okay? And the parent scale. The third key is the Roman numerals and its chord tones. Now, when we go to A, we notice that it's not diatonic because the 2 chord is generally minor if it's in, not generally, it's absolutely minor if it's diatonic. But if it's major, it's getting outside of the key. The note that's outside of the key is the 3rd. It's the C sharp. So that C sharp has to be addressed if you're going to play the whole scale. Never say never. You can make the C a passing note, but if you don't understand that C sharp is in the key, then you're going to be missing a note. So when I play the parent scale, I'm going to switch to C sharp. All right, and the way it'll really be driven home is for the chord tones and triads, right? The arpeggios. So 1, 2, 4. Sorry. 1. So now I have the major scale, or I go to second mode, but I add the C sharp, or I do the whole arpeggio. Let's try it over the chord progression. 3, 4. All right, so I'm going to find the 1 chord, 2 chord, major, 4 chord, 1 chord. Let's go to these triads up here. 2 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord. fact, the melody of the song is basically in those triads. Right? So the triads are teaching us so much about what's happening. I see everything move up a whole step for the 2-chord major. For the 4-chord, I see that 3 go to the 4, back to 3. There's the 3. 4, 3. So, there you go. All right, the fifth tool you would need is modes. Now, if I'm running Wish You Were Here, let's go back to there. This is Lydian, the 4th mode. So if I start from the 4th note and I play exactly G major, I'm playing Lydian. You'll have to excuse me if I sound a little nasally. I have getting over a cold right now. So that C Lydian is a 7-note scale from the C. Let's not dive too much into modes, but that's the 5th tool you'll need. The 5th mode is Mixed Lydian. I play the G major scale from D to D. It's automatically Mixed Lydian. A minor is Dorian, 2nd mode. 1st mode is Ionian, this is major. Okay, I don't want to get too in the weeds of the modes. Let's go to minor. And I've done some lessons recently, like, say, Losing My Religion. Right. Now, first off, let's go back to the very beginning tool, minor pentatonic, right? The pentatonic scale is always the first thing you want to look at. Not always, but for this lesson it is. That mandolin riff is all minor pentatonic. So I can just play this, if I just don't want to think too much, put on Losing My Religion, play an A minor pentatonic all up and down the neck. Really a great use of your time. You'll never regret working on minor pentatonic. That being said, it will work over the entire song because all the chords are diatonic. So we still want to do the other tools to understand how to do something more, okay? And that's going to be the parent scale and tonic key, right? The tonic key is A minor. The parent scale is A minor, natural minor. And you want to run that in all positions. Then you can play it over the song with the minor scale as well. Just all over the up and down the neck, all 7 notes of the minor scale, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? All natural notes. The next thing you want to do is Roman numerals. So we're going to say, all right, that actually the first chord of the song is F. That's the flat 6. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6. Or I can go down to it. 1, flat 7, flat 6 is a little closer. And I'd say that's flat 6. We know flat 6 is major in the minor key. If you didn't know that, don't worry about it. I have other lessons talking about Roman numerals, but here is a flat 6 chord, major. Then it goes to D minor. That's the 4 chord, it's minor, diatonic. Flat 7 is G, that's major, also diatonic. Then it does a walking bass line. Then it repeats. D minor, G, A minor, O, G, A minor. All right, so that's a lot. So let's not do that. Let's do the verse, because the verse is much more easy to play over for as far as following the chord changes. A minor, 1 chord. It's bigger. All right, what's the E minor? Go ahead and pause the video if you want and tell me what the E minor is. All right, the E minor is the 5 chord. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, E. Or 1, flat 7, flat 6, 5. Now, the 5 chord can be minor or major, all right, in a minor key. That's just the way it works because it can always be major. But in this case, it's minor. Most pop songs are the 5 chord is minor nowadays. But in the 70s and 60s, and there was a lot of 5 chord being major. I'd say a bigger percentage. So here we have a minor 5 chord. Bigger. So I want to say, great, I can play the 1, flat 3, 5 of A. Or I can do it here in a more familiar position. Then when it goes to the 5, chord tones. That's 1, flat 3, 5, 1, flat 3, 5. Back to 1. I can now look at the triads. Then he goes to D minor. Only 1, flat 3, 5. It's a G. That's me in the corner. So you see what I'm doing? I'm doing arpeggios. Really, really powerful exercise. Can you hear the song? We got it, and you are not me. Look at that common tone, that E. Only common tone between the two chords. D minor. Only 1, flat 3, 5, G. Thought that I heard you laughing. Flat 6. Thought that flat 7. 1, 2, 4. Okay. All right, the last thing would be the modes, and for A minor, it's Aeolian, natural minor. Starting from the 5th mode, it's automatically Phrygian, so E minor Phrygian. We know it's Phrygian also because in the chord progression it goes to F. It's also in the A natural minor key. So you have those 5 tools. Maybe take one at a time and work it. This is meant to be sort of a exhaustive lesson that's going to exhaust the possibilities a little bit. Not meant to say you should do this all at once or at the same time. And try it out. I'll post a little bit on the Patreon about it. And remember to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and looking forward to seeing you next time. Thanks. Bye.